our whole beings, not just our minds, and offer attention rather than opinion? And do we have enough resolve in our hearts to act courageously, relentlessly, without ever giving up, ever? Trusting our fellow citizens to join us in our determined pursuit of a living democracy. The human heart is also central in Islamic theology and indeed many faiths. As you know, a hadith instructs us, God said, "Neither my heavens nor my earth can contain me, but the heart of my believing servant contains me." And another one that says, "Beware, in the body there is a flesh. If it is sound, the whole body is sound. And if it is corrupt, the whole body is corrupt. And behold, it is the heart." The heart and the condition of our hearts is central to our politics and our spirituality. Yet, keeping the heart clear is one of the most central or most challenging facets of our life today. We have an incredible amount of distractions. We have to check our emails and our phones. We have to see what's on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. We have to be up to speed with the latest news. And even our work distracts us. Sometimes I'm doing the work for community and it's a work of service. But if I work excessively, I don't take the time for my own spiritual nourishment. I don't take the time to read Quran or do my dhikr or even just breathe and meditate. Yet these ritual practices are so necessary. It's a vitamin S for spiritual stamina that is needed to repair the tears in our social, political, and civic fabric. Keeping our hearts clear is what enables us to do the work of deep empathy and compassion for our own struggles and for the struggles of others in our midst. Poverty, homelessness, discrimination, displacement, climate change, healthcare, cycles of violence, all can be broken only by starting in our own hearts. Keeping our hearts clear is what enables a living democracy. This is where seminary graduates can play a crucial role. You are among the leaders who tend to the personal and collective wounds created by fear. Through spiritually grounded remedies, you help heal hearts and help us weave a social fabric that brings people together. You are part of the key to how this nation will move forward as a collective together. I see your future work, teaching, researching, ministering to anyone in need as central. There are two main areas of work that I want to charge you to pay attention to as you walk out of the doors of seminary. The first charge is to lead from the inside out. Take time to strengthen and renew yourselves, physically, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, socially, and intellectually, and it has to be on an ongoing basis. Often the people working hardest at changing our world are the ones that take care of themselves the least. But we have to believe that deep in our hearts, that when we don't turn inward, we will ultimately hurt the very causes that we seek to change. Without self-care, we are much more prone to projecting our own woundedness. It's the woundedness that all of us carry onto the world. Let us cultivate an inner ecology that allows our better angels to grow and thrive. The second charge is one that I'm bringing you as someone who is currently working in government, but also has worked in the nonprofit and academic sector. And I want you to think about yourselves as civic engagement specialists. Communities of faith and religious leaders and teachers play a very important role as connectors. You can serve as a voice for moral clarity for both our leaders and our communities. A really important challenge that I navigate daily in my work is the lack of trust that people have in government and our leaders. And I'm not going to get into that and give you examples. I think we only need to turn to the news and turn on our TVs, and we'll see plenty of reasons for why people do not trust government, and why this country and in other Western democracies, there's actually a decline in voting. The question is more what we can do about this lack of trust and the underlying disappointment. Government leaders must reform the inequalities that have very often been perpetuated by government systems and structures. To do that, we as government officials and they as government officials need to look within. We need to be grounded in our own hearts and to have moral courage. Your gentle and strong reminders to government leaders can help them revive and deepen their own moral grounding. The second area where we need your leadership is to help us rediscover and revive what we know to be as the common good. I asked somebody about this phrase, and they said they hadn't heard it in a long time. What does it mean? We probably need to have a conversation about what we all think this means. When I'm using the phrase, I'm talking about strengthening the selflessness that is innate in each of us. The impetus to give that is reflected in decisions that put the good of the collective first over our own interests. I'm also talking about a sense that we have a shared destiny as humanity, that each of us has an innate dignity that must be reinforced in how we treat each other. Not just in daily interactions, but it starts there. Also in our policymaking. We desperately need a shared sense of common humanity that doesn't white out our differences, but rather celebrates them. We need a common good that is defined by leaving no one behind, especially the most vulnerable in our midst. To get there, we need lots of conversations happening at the grassroots, across dining tables, community spaces, and in the public square. It needs a stamina, commitment, and drive that I believe can be nurtured through the work of people, graduates like you, who carry and hold their faith in confidence and humility in a world where religion has its skeptics, and also for good reason. Because religion is often tied up in violence, terrorism, xenophobia, mass shootings, inequalities of class, race, sexuality, and gender. All have seen religion being used to demean and exclude. But the graduates of seminaries like this, like Hartford, and you as individuals, you've trained to wield and apply spiritual teachings in a way that can really redirect our conversation towards positive ends. You can direct us towards a collective soul searching that will help us to solve some of the most complex challenges that are facing our country and our world. As you move beyond the doors of the seminary into the world, I pray that you hold on to your complexity with mindfulness, that you treasure your connectedness to spiritual learning and practice, and that you share it generously with families, communities, and a country that desperately needs your wisdom and your guidance. I pray that God blesses each and every one of you and keeps you strong in your journey ahead. Amen.
Amen.